In January 2026, we made it through another winter storm. The lights stayed on, the heat kept running. Texas proved the grid works. Governor Abbott and state leaders deserve credit. The weatherization reforms implemented after the deadly 2021 winter storm Uri were a success. And since then, Texas has kept the power flowing when it mattered most. So, are we finally in the clear? No. Here's what the data shows and why experts are still concerned for future storms, especially any approaching the severity of 2021's Uri. Think of the Texas grid like a sports team. After Uri, we bought better cold weather gear. We weatherized power plants, improved gas supply systems, upgraded operations. All of that worked. But we didn't fix the recruiting strategy, which is the market design that determines what types of generation get built on the grid. Since Uri, we've added $50 billion in solar panels and battery storage, 31 gigawatts of solar, 17 gigawatts of batteries. Meanwhile, we only added 3 gigawatts of natural gas generation. For perspective, 1 gigawatt is enough to provide power for about 1 million people a day. The Texas grid worked during the January 2026 storm because dispatchable generation, natural gas, coal, nuclear, they were operating at 90% of their full capacity when it was cloudy and the wind barely blew during the height of the storm. We've proven weatherization works, but we've done nothing to require wind and solar to improve their performance. And that's basically all we've added to the grid. Before Uri, our winter reserve margin was 17.5%, plenty of backup power, but not enough when so many power plants were not prepared for the weather. By 2025, it's dropped to 10%. Research shows it could go negative by 2029 or 2030. We are reaching a point where even if everything operates perfectly, we will be short of power. This time, the grid worked because we still had just enough dispatchable generation. If we keep dispatchable generation in line with demand growth, the grid will be okay. But under current market conditions, in a few years, we will have a much higher demand and a worse mix of dispatchable versus renewable generation. What about batteries? Batteries help for short durations, but during multi-day winter storms, they deplete very quickly, and there's no power to recharge them during cloudy, cold days. Here's a real solution. Adding just 6 to 7 gigawatts of dispatchable natural gas generation would cover our current winter reliability gap. To achieve the same results with batteries, you would need to triple our total storage capacity from 35 to 100 gigawatt hours, costing at least twice as much as the new gas generation. Math isn't close. 6 gigawatts of reliable generation versus tripling our entire battery capacity. Texas electricity demand is growing, driven largely by data centers. That's economic growth we want. But without reliable generation matching this growth, winter outages become deeper and longer. Every cold day, every hour of cloud cover, every calm wind becomes more dangerous. Dispatchable generation needs to match demand curves, growing as demand grows. That hasn't happened. Here's the bottom line. Policymakers, regulators, and market participants have fixed most of the operational problems that made Uri such a disaster. But they haven't fixed the market incentives that determine what gets built to prevent the next winter disaster. Texas has always been the state that figures it out. We don't wait for federal bailouts, we solve problems. And in January 2026, we proved something important. The new 31 gigawatts of solar and 17 gigawatts of batteries didn't keep the lights on. Reliable dispatchable generation did. Now, we need to keep it that way before demand grows, before reserves go negative. Until the ERCOT market stops valuing weather-dependent resources the same as reliable resources, Texas will have to contend with increasing reliability risks. We need to act now, while we have time, because Texans can't wait for the second blackout to figure out what went wrong. To learn more, visit texaspolicy.com. We'll see you next time.